I would just like to clarify first that what I'm referring to in this video is the highest damage number you see in your weapon screen, and not the damage values you see when hitting an enemy. Also, this is not a necromech video, so I'm sorry, Voidrig. We all know that the weapon of this cornbot named Archibex can pull off crazy amount of total damage numbers, but even with my maxed out setup, I just managed to get 137,760 total weapon damage. Take note that this doesn't include the total damage output of the weapon when critical hits are included. The same goes with the weapon that we will talk about in this video, and if you include the critical hit plus other damage boost in the build, then the gun can reach millions of damage easily. Now, if you are familiar with the warframe skin featured in the thumbnail, then you already know that I'm talking about Hildryn. And honestly, I regretted not playing the warframe after she received her newest augment last year. Hildryn is a beast right now, and I'll be showing my version of a Balefire Charger build with critical hits that deals millions of damage. But before we proceed, I would like to say that if I missed a detail on the video or you want to add something, then don't hesitate to use the comment section later. We will have a discussion afterward once I have shown all the things needed for this new synergy. I will share with you all the Hildryn builds that I have tried before arriving to the most optimal one. But let's start first with the Balefire Charger build. This exalted secondary has the worst status and critical stats in the game, but honestly, this is not a problem for Hildryn, as she got pillage that can strip the full defenses of enemies. Because of this, status don't matter, and you can focus giving your build 90% elemental, or even the primed variant of these elemental mods to further boost your damage output. In addition, Magnum Force's accuracy penalty is minimal on this weapon, hence making it a good choice, along with Hornet Strike that gives more total damage to Balefire Charger. Anyway, aside these damage mods, multi-shot and elemental mods, you don't have any other choices because of the low critical and status of this exalted secondary. However, we are still going to mod for more critical damage, as we can actually get a flat 45% critical chance bonus with the help of Arcane Avenger. Every time an enemy damage Hildryn's shield, the Arcane Avenger has a chance to proc, and in real mission, it's almost every time, giving you that 50% critical chance boost to make good use of the primed target cracker mod. Aside from Arcane Avenger, I also added Topaz Archon shards in my build for the extra critical chance given by the Arcane for every killed enemies affected with heat status. Currently, I can further have a 299% critical chance bonus from 4 Topaz shards, but I'm planning to add another one to complete this build. Also, in the upcoming Techrot Encore update, the critical hits of this Hildryn build will be reliable as we can finally use Arcanes on exalted weapons. This means that I can equip Arcane Enervate on the Balefire Charger to further boost my critical hits. But this is not the only Arcane that I'm planning to try out, as there's also Cascadia Flare that grants an insane 480% damage buff to secondary at max stack of heat status. There's also the option to use secondary Shiver for the 450% increased damage at max stack of cold status effect. The best part about both secondary Shiver and Cascadia Flare is that you don't need to actually mod for either heat or cold in the build, and you can inflict status effects to get the benefit of the Arcanes by using your companion. For example, if I mod my Sentinel companion with heat, then this can help me stack the bonus of Cascadia Flare, and my Balefire Charger will get the 480% damage boost easily. This is great as Sentinel works well with this Hildryn synergy, especially the Nautilus with its Cordon mod precept for grouping. In my case, I also added Viral on my Sentinel weapon for more damage to health of enemies, and probably it would be wise to use Cascadia Flare for this scenario. If you prefer using other companions, then you can always just use the secondary Merciless Arcane for more damage boost. However, do take note that in Warframe, we have a feature called diminishing returns, and once you opt in for these damage boost Arcanes, I strongly recommend that you tweak your build a bit. Diminishing returns on damage mods refers to how adding multiple damage increasing mods like Serration, Hornet Strike, Point Blank, and more. If you do this, then it will result in less noticeable increase in overall damage due to multiplicative scaling. Instead of stacking too many raw damage mods, it's often better to use elemental, crit, and faction mods, as they multiply differently and give better scaling. Once the arcane system is implemented for exalted weapons, then I'll experiment once again on my build and try to remove mods like Magnum Force and Augur Pact to replace it with more critical mods. I don't know what my final build will look like just yet, but obviously, the one that deals the highest damage output is the obvious choice. With all the details I have given for modding Balefire Charger, I think it's only a matter of time until you finalize your Hildryn build once the Techrot Encore update arrives. By the way, critical hit is not the only stat that is not reflected on the Balefire Charger page, but also the extra damage from the new augment called Aegis Gale. This is an augment for her 4th ability that grants an alternate fire during flight, firing a volley of projectiles whose damage scales with Hildryn's max shields. The alternate fire is instantaneous and no charge time, burst firing 4 projectiles and helping clear out a crowd of enemies easily. For the Hildryn build, I strongly discourage you using a Nourish setup for this warframe. First of all, the energy multiplier from Nourish doesn't work with Hildryn's shield regeneration per energy orb. The amount of shield you get from energy orb is not affected by the Nourish skill. Secondly, the viral damage boost might be handy, but a better way to do it is by modding your Sentinel's weapon with Viral. You can stack the max Viral status without the help of Nourish, and this is really overpowered knowing that you can strip all the armor and shield of enemies using Pillage. The highest damage hit I got from this build is around 4.6 million, but it fluctuates depending on how much Viral stack you inflict to an enemy, and with the help of other outside buffs also. One of the recommended build I would like you to try is subsuming Xata's Whisper into the warframe and replacing her 3rd ability. Balefire Charger is affected by the primed Firestorm mod that increases the area of its radial attack. But since I don't have room for the mod, I decided to use the Xata's Whisper skill for its multi-hit effect. This skill works perfectly, and it can help you clear a crowd of enemies. However, it seems like the Void status effect is missing from Xata's Whisper with a Balefire Charger synergy. Also, Nautilus Cordon mod Precept defeats the purpose of skills multi-hit, as you can just group enemies with the Sentinel's unique mod Precept. I planned not to use any Helminth builds after Xata's Whisper, but that would be a waste as I'm not using Haven for this synergy. After a couple of trial and error, I can recommend Eclipse or Roar for their damage boosting potential. Rhino's Roar can give your ability increased damage output, while Eclipse will give your Balefire Charger extra weapon damage, or the choice to use its Lunar Eclipse buff that grants 75% damage reduction to your shield. This will pair well with the Aerodynamic and Aviator mods that we have in our build, making Hildryn tanky and manage her shield drain better. Finally, I would like to add that you can further tweak the build by removing Primed Continuity, as this is only an optional mod since I am using a Helminth build with Duration. In fact, Hildryn without Duration mods can be better for Pillage as it pulses back quickly, giving you more efficiency in getting shield and stripping defenses. In this slot, you can place another shield capacity mod called Boreal Hatred to boost the extra damage of Aegis Gale and give extra shield for survivability and ability efficiency. Or you can do a dual augment build using Balefire Surge that will grant you shield for every direct hit of your exalted weapon's charged attack. If you choose this augment mod, then you need to tweak your Balefire Charger build a bit and add another fire rate mod to lower the charge time of your exalted secondary. The base charge time is about 2 seconds, which is quite long in my opinion, but this can be lowered by fire rate mods. In fact, Arcane Velocity is also a good option, and you can replace Molt Augmented for this arcane. Just do take note that the alternate fire of Aegis Gale doesn't proc the shield restore of Balefire Surge. You will occasionally use Charge Shot to restore your shield, but I don't know if everyone will be doing this when there's the Pillage ability in your disposal. Nonetheless, Balefire Surge is a great option in maintaining your shield while using your ultimate, especially against those infested units that got no shield or Amor to help you restore your shield with Pillage. This Hildryn build is really satisfying to use, and everyone will love you because of the constant energy drop you give to the team with the help of Aegis Storm. The only downside is your movement while suspended in the air is kind of slow, but it's manageable with the dodge mechanic. If you don't care too much about that, and you'll like playing a good fun build for Hildren, then try this Death from Above synergy now. And I will see you again in my next video for more amazing build guides. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you'll have tons of fun playing this new Hildren synergy.